back around to Kauai and make this loop right here. This is better. Uh, 184 feet deep coming down, so there'll be lots of good fishing around this point. So I got a cedar plug real close. If we actually get a decent fish on, we'll move the duck cage and we'll drop that down. But fishing on here for big fish is kind of gnarly because it's never calm, because it's going to be rough, because we've got to go through the channels to get up to like the 8 knots you want to troll, 8, 9, 10, and it's always rough. And if it's not rough, we're going too slow. So it's real tricky because you can't control your speed as much. And also, if I get a big fish on now, like on one of these Tiagras later, and it's pretty big, you can let that out a little more if you want. Yeah. We're just getting that wind coming around there now. Yeah, keep going. I'm all about comfortable. Yeah, right there. That way we can still send it. Yeah, 6 knots. Yeah, that way we got 6 knots now. We're not completely heeled over. We're still reefed. I talk about like just the perfect angle, and we got probably, we're gonna pick up so much. That's 6.7 knots, 6.8. Yeah, but we got the 2 knots of current too.
Yeah, it was like we all of a sudden it was like hello.
But so now we're getting into better wind speed. I mean better speed, 7.6. So I can start putting some big lures out. So what happens is, basically we get a fish on, it's all a complete nightmare back here. And then we got to bring in the front sail, which means we probably got to go turn downwind while the fish is running, and you almost lose all your line, and then more than likely drop the mainsail. While you turn the engine on, take it off autopilot. I drive and she has a lot of stuff to do, and there's a lot of things that have to happen right away. And you know, and it's not always the safest thing to do when you're out in the middle of these channels, like turning around and fighting fish. You know, I've done it. I'd fish this all day, and you see all these little boats, smaller boats out here all day, every day. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 small boats that I can see from here. 7. This is just the leash. Get back in there. Okay. 4.6, 4.5. Need a starboard some. So that line's going through there, out there, out. There's a lure. Yeah, is everything falling? looks like we're gonna get a lot of spray on the starboard side. I hope not. Makua Bay. In Waianae. Pokai Bay's around that point. Kaina Point. It points straight to Kauai. So the more you let the boom out that way, the less wind it catches. So that's kind of a break in a way, is letting the boom out that way. If I brought that boom, that big silver pole, into the middle, then I'd be heeled over, leaning over more this way more. I like how this boat just stopped. I think his engine died. I don't know. It looked like his engine died. I don't know. He's got lines out. He's getting pretty close in front of me. It looked like he stopped for a second and then he was like trying to start the engine. Nah, I don't think so. By the time we get there, sure he knows what he's doing. A lot of small boats, but I always knew there was this mosquito fleet here. You always hear pom-pom calls for these smaller boats out here all the time. I didn't throw a 5-gallon bucket at you. I didn't throw a 5-gallon bucket. Okay, it's still not bright, but we're 7.4 knots, 6.6 knots. Instead of using that BNG and the Furuno back there that I absolutely hate, I go use Navionics for everything. I use my phone for Navionics. So I use my phone more than anything else. The BNG I use autopilot mostly, and that Furuno I have a 1 kW transducer, so it reads to about 2,000 feet deep. So I have that Furuno on here just for seeing the depth in the bottom, because I am a fisherman. So I haven't done much fishing lately and I've just been burned out, and it comes and goes. 7.8 knots. So let's measure distance. We left from right here, so we can measure that distance. We've already gone, we left about 4 hours late, so we can measure the distance is 6.7 miles from where we were. 11:30, we left at what? 10?
Like moving at 10.
So an hour and a half, we've gone 7 knots, which makes sense because the first half,
7 miles.
the first 7 miles, yeah, we're 7 miles. So the first 7 miles is taking an hour and a half, which makes sense because the first 45 minutes was light wind. Yeah. And now we're in the, we're in the channel. So this is an extremely, extremely nice channel crossing. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Light wind.
I've been lucky out of every single one.
So as far as right now goes, another cool thing I do on this Navionics, so I have my line. Yeah, I can't do it on this one, but sometimes because I didn't turn the track on early enough, it'll have a yellow line from where we left. So basically, if I just extended that, or I can use this to go to Navionics Harbor. I think that's probably where we're heading, and that's a line right there, a heading line I can use. So we're pretty much just going 6.5 knots, 6.8, 7.2, and we've got current behind us. So all that current comes from up here. That current pushes around the island, so it's accelerated at this point. So we're seeing higher. We're probably at 2 to 3 knots of extra speed only because of that current is ripping around through here. And so the current will help carry us over here. If we're going back up against the current, then you have to basically zigzag with the wind too. So coming back that from Kauai or Niihau back to here is a little bit more difficult, but you can go all the way to a big island, and it's a better wind direction. So you can sail there, and then you can work your way counterclockwise back around. Ooh. Back around to Kauai and make this loop right here is better. You can sail here, here, here. This is gnarly sailing around Maui County. That channel between Molokai and Oahu is really gnarly. So let's figure out at this speed, at let's say 6 knots. Now we'll measure our distance again because I must have accidentally turned that off. So let's put that on the boat and this one to Navionics. We got 57-ish miles. Let's just call it 60 miles. So 10 hours from now, which would be like 10 o'clock tonight. So give that another couple hours. So let's call it 12 to 14 hours. So we'll get there like midnight, maybe. Not horrible. I like it. I think I was just anxious a little bit because of like that time of the month, and then just, I don't know. I feel better now that we're sailing. I still swore Kauai was that way.